in regards to one of the organizations that I was going to abstain from scoring. On the Ion Wave, it does not give me an option to abstain. What would be the remedy to that?
So we do have, and we are asked to disclose it. So I am going to disclose that you had submitted a recusal for Laredo Regional Food Bank and LULAC. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so you just don't score that application. And
Okay, so I'll leave it incomplete, and
correct,
you guys will still score the rest, ¿verdad?
correct. Score all the other ones, just don't score those. And when we have discussion on that, just recuse yourself from the discussion and from any voting.
Mr. Tejas, Chairman, just to tell you what it says online on the Ion Wave website, as you're going to go in and score these things, it says if any conflict of interest exists, the evaluator must submit a recusal and disclosure form to the Office of Community Development.
Yes, and I have done so. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have to, that I had to complete it, that if I didn't score one, that it didn't hold up the rest of the hotel motel scoring, because they have already submitted them. I just want to make sure that one that's left incomplete doesn't affect the rest. That was my question.
And may I ask what constitutes a conflict of interest? I mean, obviously, if you work for the entity, that's a conflict. That's obvious.
I serve on the boards of the Laredo Regional Food Bank as vice president, for the record, and I serve on the state board for LULAC. So LULAC Council 7, I may not be a direct member of or hold an office within the LULAC Council 7, but I believe that since I do hold an office at the state level and require for them, if I do seek re-election, I would have seek their support when they're with their delegates. I feel like I would not, in good faith, be able to score for them.
That's smart. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not in conflict if I've made personal donations to any of these entities.
I don't believe that makes you a conflict. I believe if you are a decision maker upon their board. And I feel like I am a decision maker on both of those entities.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
If you work for, or even if you work for, there might be some, questions that we can ask. But if you are a board member, correct, it's best. Or in some cases, we have committee members that have written the grants for the organizations. So that would be a conflict of interest also.
Yes, I recall in the past that had occurred. But just for the record, when we do have the discussions within our boards, as far as the regional food banks concerned, I always give the same disclaimer, and I abstain from discussion even when they make the decisions to apply, just so the record reflects that.
Understood. And the last point that I'll make, and I'll be quiet, I promise, is I called Edgar the other day and asked if he could pass me one of your all's phone numbers, and I'll keep quiet on whose it was, just so I could discuss some of these things. Of course, he's not at liberty to give out your phone number to me, so I asked him if he would make the call and to the person and give them my phone number and see if they'd be kind enough to call me back. I just want to be clear, if anybody wants to discuss this and for some reason my opinion matters to you, Edgar, you have my permission to give any of the board members my phone number.
Oh, great. Can I have John's phone number? This is Jackie.
Well, look, as long as you all promise not to write it on any bathroom walls, it's 237 John. Pretty easy to remember.
Well, I would refrain from this. This is a live meeting. I would refrain from giving out personal information, and I would rely on staff to relay those messages to each of the members. If it is prudent, I too will allow staff to give out my contact information to any member who needs assistance. Some of you already have it. If not, staff can definitely provide it to you. But as far as privacy concerns, I think you just wrote your number on the side of a restroom yourself, but it's no worries.
Just don't include it in the minutes. Can I make a motion to strike it from the minutes? I'm all right.
I too don't have an issue with my personal information being disclosed if anybody could need it. This is Angie Theus, by the way.
Let the record reflect that the members have announced to staff will allow each other access to contact.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, I wanted to move on.
Well,
There's no other agenda discussion agenda item. Great.
I did have something to mention before we close out agenda item number 8. As you all might have heard, the city is starting to go back to opening offices and opening meetings, in-person meetings. And so we were given the option for all our committees and all our boards that we could continue WebEx, we can do in-person meetings, or we can do a hybrid of WebEx and in-person. So I just wanted to, let the committee know that I know it's difficult sometimes to communicate within this format. So in the past, we had opened up our community development conference room, which is a 15 chaired, I guess, facility. It's a big conference room that would allow us to social distance. And of course, we would continue with the measures of, we would ask wearing masks. The meeting would still be recorded and accessed live. But I just wanted to let the board know that if you all wanted a motion to change anything for your next meeting, or if you all want to continue WebEx for the next meeting.
Any opinions or suggestions?
I would love to meet in person.
I would like to suggest that we do a hybrid version, allowing some members to continue logging on via WebEx, and if some members would like to be present, they can. I unfortunately will not be available at this time for an in-person meeting until the end of May. And even then, after that, I believe I might have some other compromisos with a Little League team that I'm involved with. So I would really enjoy to have the opportunity for both.
Hybrid works for me. This is Angie Theus.
So, yes, Angie.
I agree that the hybrid meetings would probably work best for me.
Action to this decision to a motion just for the minutes or we take our suggestion.
Mr. Chairman, it broke.
Can you hear me now?
I didn't.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
My question was, do we need this in the form of an official action, or will staff take our consideration?
I would like in a motion that if you all want a hybrid to see, if that's the, if we get consensus on that, or if not, we just stay WebEx.
I think Mrs. Theus had expressed concerns, and I think it could be considered as a motion if she would see fit.
I'd like a hybrid also, because I'm not ready to go in person, as I just underwent surgery.
Ms. Hinojosa, would you like to second Mrs. Theus' motion? Is that a second?
Yes.
Then we have a motion on the table, motion and seconded. Is there any discussion in regards to Mrs. Theus' motion?
I have a suggestion. I was cut off and I came back in. I didn't know if you spoke. My name is
Sada?
Yes.
Ms. Sada, we have a motion on the floor in regards to the next meeting being a hybrid meeting where we would be allowed to either attend in person at the Community Development Office, which is located at the El Metro parking garage. It was motioned by Mrs. Theus and seconded by Ms. Hinojosa. Is there discussion upon that action item?
So it would be some present and some on WebEx.
Yes,
That's
per the COVID restrictions. Could staff elaborate as far as what they feel, how many can attend? How many do they feel comfortable can safely social distance there in the office? You said there was room for 15. would that be 7? Would that be, what number would that be?
I think it were, so there's 7, it's a big conference room. It does allow for, right now we only have 15 chairs in our conference room, but yeah, somewhere between half, as long as we're not more than 7, more than 8, we should be okay to be able to space ourselves out.
Ms. Sada, was that
Agree. Thank you.
Agree. Okay. Was there any other discussion on the motion on the floor?
One last question. If you're going to take an informal poll at some point of who wants to show up and who wants to stay on WebEx. No commitment. You don't have to commit right now to it, correct?
Correct. I'll send an email.
Is it out of line for you all to ask if anybody wants to attend in person, that we can ask, or you can ask them? None of us have to know that they have indeed been vaccinated. Or can we limit it to people that have been vaccinated, or are we going off chart here?
I don't know if I have the ability to restrict anybody to show up or to disclose that information.
Okay.
I think if staff can be prudent as far as that information and request it in a more private manner, and we can, answer or divulge that information as far as board members are concerned. But if there's any other discussion in regards to the motion on the floor, if there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and move to the previous question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I believe the ayes have it. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? I asked if there were any in favor. I believe we did have an acknowledgement by board members, and then I asked if there was any opposed. Maybe I broke up when I said that. Is there any opposed? Since there's no opposed, the ayes have it, and we will now entertain a motion to adjourn. I believe Mr. Brenheimer is
I so moved.
There's a motion on the floor. I don't believe this action requires a second. As far as my understanding of Robert's Rules of Order, we can argue about that later. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposed to the adjournment, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.